Not sure how to position your handlebars or controls? I'm Nate with Electrix Moto, and this is E-Moto 101. All right, let's dive right in. So I've already set the handlebars and the brake lever in properly. You can see that the handlebars are rolled forward toward the front of the bike. And I also have this brake lever set super low down. And I've removed the handguard from this side of the bike, just so you can see things a little bit better. The first thing we want to do is identify which tools that we need for this job. So to adjust the handlebars, I'm going to need to take these loose. This is a 10 mil on this bike, the Surron Ultra B. And to adjust the brake levers, I'm going to use a 5 mil Allen on this. In case I do need to do this, this is a 2.5 mil Allen. And for my handguards, I used a 6 mil for the end. These tools will likely change depending on what bike you own, but just make sure you have the right tools to take it loose. Let's start first by adjusting the handlebars. I'm going to use a 10 millimeter wrench for this. I have a T-handle. This is what I prefer for this kind of job. You can use a socket. You can use an end wrench. You can also use a torque spit on these ones. So when you're looking at your handlebars, typically they have little painted lines. You can see them on the top here, and there are also some down low. This allows you to know if you're positioned properly left or right and how much roll you have on the bars. So like I said, these handlebars are rolled too far forward right now, and that'll affect the steering control of the bike. A good general rule of thumb is when you look at the handlebar bend, the rise of the bars, it's best to put that in alignment with the direction of the fork tubes as they go down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these loose, and I'm not going to take them completely loose because I want just a little bit of friction so I can adjust the bars. And now I have them cracked loose. I've actually made a little mark of where my measurement is. This might be hard for you to see, but I have 3 lines on each side of this block right here. So I know that it's set up left and right properly. And I'm just going to kind of look down the fork tubes, and I'm going to make sure that I put this in alignment. So this is too far forward, and this is a little too far back. So I'm going to find that kind of happy medium where I'm lined up left to right. And it's okay to roll your bars a little bit farther back, say if you're a shorter rider. Sometimes that's a little bit more comfortable. It's just not advised to roll the bars forward. So I usually ride mine pretty much straight in line with the fork tubes. Okay. And I'm just going to evenly tighten these down. You don't want to go too tight. You don't want to ruin your threads. You really don't need to crank on these too much, but it is important to evenly tighten them down. So after I have my bars set, I like to move on to levers. So you can see that this brake lever right now is angled really far down to the ground. That might work if you're in a standing position, but it's really not all that comfortable. So I'm going to take my 5 mil Allen here, and I'm going to take this clamp loose. And kind of a general rule of thumb is to set these levers slightly below parallel to the ground. So we're angled down a little bit right here. You also want to make sure that you set these levers in far enough that your fingers are comfortable on it. Typically with a front brake and a rear brake on these bikes, I'm always one finger on the brake. You can use 2. I wouldn't ever use full hands on these. You just really don't need that. One finger is plenty. So I'm going to angle this down just slightly like that. I'm going to test it. I'm going to make sure that it feels comfortable with my hands. For me, I want to come in just a little bit more with this one. This is a comfortable position for me. I have the levers angled slightly down. I make sure that they're inside enough to the point where my fingers are comfortably, kind of right where the lever starts angling. I can still get 2 fingers on the lever comfortably. Might even go just in a little bit on this. I like the angle though. Up there. Before you tighten everything down, you can make sure that it fits. Just a little more. Yeah, that feels pretty good. I'm going to snug this down. Remember, don't over tighten anything. Go nice and easy on these bolts when you're clamping it down. And yeah, this allows me to be in a comfortable attack position where my elbows are a little bit up. This makes you a little bit stronger on the bike, especially if you're riding dirt. It'll save you over time, and it'll make you a lot more efficient on your motorcycle rather than having your elbows down. You can also adjust controls like this. For the Surron Ultra B, this is a 2.5 millimeter Allen, and this is my kill switch, and these are my different power maps. So I want to make sure that while I'm holding onto the levers, that I can comfortably reach all of this. Nothing's too far out from my thumb, nothing's too far up or down. It should just be nice and comfortable. If you need to adjust that, you just take it loose, roll it back, roll it forward, move it in, move it out, whatever you need to do. And finally, let's put the handguards back on. These are Chirby's, I think they're the X Pro model. I have everything installed on the end still. What I like to do with these full wrap kind of handguards is I like to snug it down a little bit, make sure I'm lined up so everything will bolt on, but I like to snug it up on the end just a little bit. And what that does is it causes just enough friction to be able to position everything. Back it out just a little bit. This allows me to position the handguard up or down, make sure I'm in the right spot before tightening everything down completely. Make sure I grab my hardware here. So, because I'm on this fat bar, I'm going to use this little shim adapter that they have. It's going to go on the side nearest the front of the bike. This is just universal. There's no up or down on this. And grab my 5mm. Make sure I tighten this up slightly. It's a little bit of a balancing act sometimes with this stuff. But like your brake clamps, you want to make sure that you go nice and even with this, because if you go too tight on one side, you're just going to clamp it down all the way over there. So we're going to go nice and even. Not fully tight yet. I still want to be able to adjust it up and down. When I'm looking down the bike, I want to make sure that because things are moving toward you and you're trying to protect your hands from that, typically I like to have my handguards a little bit more toward the level side rather than have them completely in line with the brakes. You know, it's a handguard, right? So you want to see like what position are your hands in and make sure that, say if you were to hit a tree branch or something like that, one, you want to protect the levers in case you tip over, but two, you also want to be protecting your hands while you're riding. So I usually go a little bit higher than where my levers are at. Right now I'm kind of matching the side that I've already done that I like. That's looking good. So just gonna go nice and even, tighten things down a little bit more. Make sure that the end, at this point, I can pretty much tighten that up all the way. Don't over tighten things. You'll know when to stop. Just don't ever force the threads. And if you're worried about losing these bolts, you can always put some thread lock in there. Okay, that's it for this video. As a recap, make sure your handlebars are not too far rolled forward. The bend of them should be in alignment with how the fork tubes are going down. If you're a little bit shorter of a rider, it's okay to have them a little bit back. That won't affect handling too much. As for levers, I recommend that you put them slightly down from parallel. They should put you in a good attack position when you're on the bike. I typically just grab the brakes with my index fingers, but sometimes I like to have 2 fingers on the brake as well, so I make sure that I can do that. As for the hand controls, your kill switch, your ready button, maps, headlight, all of that stuff, horn, you want to make sure that that is always comfortable, so while you're riding in your typical position, you can reach those buttons, turn them on and off, change positions. Don't want it too far in, don't want it too far up or down. It's pretty simple. And then handguards, if you have them on your bike, these are the full wraps. Maybe you have just a flag style handguard. My rule of thumb with it is make sure that you're protecting your hands first, but also your levers, right? These kind of full wraps, they protect the levers from breaking, but also when I'm riding on trails, if I hit a tree or something like that, I want to make sure that my hands don't get hit by the tree because my handguard was too low. Okay, hope this helps. We'll see you in the next one.